Muhammad Ali was in the middle of the second round, dancing around the ring with that effortless rhythm, when something from the crowd made him stop throwing punches altogether. What happened next left 18,000 people in tears. It was October 1, 1975, at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Ali was headlining an exhibition match, and the energy inside the arena was electric. He had already worked the crowd into a frenzy during his walk to the ring, shuffling his feet and shadowboxing with that famous grin. Now he was settling into his flow, peppering his opponent with jabs, floating like only Ali could. The arena was packed with 18,000 roaring fans, but what none of them knew was that in the third row, center section, sat a 7-year-old boy who wasn't supposed to live to see the sunrise. Danny Sullivan was dying. The leukemia that had been fighting him for 2 years was finally winning, and his doctors had given him less than 48 hours to live. His parents, Margaret and Tom Sullivan, had made the heartbreaking decision to take him out of the hospital for one final wish. "Mama, I want to see Muhammad Ali," Danny whispered that morning, his small voice barely audible. "Before I go to heaven, I want to see him fight." Margaret tried to explain that Ali tickets were impossible to get, especially on such short notice. But Tom Sullivan, a mechanic who never asked anyone for a favor in his life, spent the entire day calling every contact he had, begging for seats. At 6 p.m., just 2 hours before the event, a friend of a friend who worked at the Coliseum found 3. They weren't ringside, but they were close enough for Danny to see his hero. Danny was so weak Tom had to carry him from the car to his seat. The little boy was wearing his favorite Ali t-shirt, a size too big, and a baseball cap to cover the hair he had lost during chemotherapy. For the first hour, Danny was in heaven. Despite his pain and exhaustion, he lit up with every chant of, "Ali! Ali!" His tiny fists clenched in excitement as he tried to mimic his hero's moves. Margaret kept checking his pulse, worried that the excitement might be too much for his fragile heart. But Danny was more alive than he'd been in months. "This is the best day ever, Mama," he whispered between rounds. Margaret wiped away tears, knowing this would probably be his last good day. When Ali danced back into the ring for the next round, Danny's eyes lit up with pure joy. This was the moment he had dreamed of. Ali was halfway through the round when it happened. From somewhere in the third row, a mother's voice cut through the chants and the bell. "Ali, please! My son is dying. He loves you so much." Ali stopped mid-combination. His opponent froze too, confused. The referee lowered his hands. Slowly, the crowd realized something unusual was happening, and the roar began to fade into silence. Margaret was now standing, holding Danny in her arms, shouting with the desperation of a mother with nothing left to lose. "Please! He's only got hours left. He just wanted to see you fight." The arena went dead silent. 18,000 people turned to look at the woman holding a small, obviously sick child in the third row. Ali dropped his gloves and walked to the ropes, squinting into the audience lights. His voice carried clear and strong. "Ma'am, what did you say?" Margaret lifted Danny higher so Ali could see him. "This is my son Danny. He's 7 years old, and he's dying. The doctors say he has maybe hours left. All he wanted was to see you fight. He loves you so much." The arena was so quiet you could hear people breathing. Ali stood at the edge of the ropes, staring at this tiny boy in an Ali shirt, clearly very sick. "What's your name, champ?" Ali called out. Danny, despite his weakness, managed to speak loud enough for the mic to catch it. "Danny Sullivan. I love you, Ali." Those 5 words hit Muhammad Ali like a punch to the chest. What Ali did next had never been done before in the history of boxing. He turned to the referee. "Stop the fight." Then, to the stunned crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, there's something more important than boxing happening right now." Ali climbed through the ropes, jumped down from the ring, and began walking toward the Sullivans. 18,000 people sat in stunned silence. "Joe," Ali said to his trainer Angelo Dundee, "get that family backstage. Now." "But champ, we can't just..." Ali cut him off. "That boy is dying. He came here to see me. And I'm damn sure he's gonna get more than a glimpse from the third row." Within minutes, security was escorting the Sullivan family backstage. Danny was barely conscious, but awake enough to realize something incredible was happening. Inside Ali's dressing room, something beautiful and heartbreaking occurred. Ali knelt down beside Danny, who was lying on the couch too weak to sit up. "Hey there, champ. Your mama tells me you like my fights." Danny nodded weakly. "I shadowbox every night. Helps me not be scared." Ali felt his throat tighten. "You know what, buddy? That makes you a fighter too. And fighters don't give up." Danny's eyes widened. Despite his pain, despite his exhaustion, despite everything, he managed a faint smile. Ali gently lifted him into his arms. Then, 20 minutes later, he returned to the ring, carrying Danny Sullivan. The sight of Muhammad Ali walking out holding a sick little boy in front of 18,000 people was unforgettable. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ali said into the mic, his voice thick with emotion, "this is my friend Danny Sullivan. He's 7 years old. And he's braver than any of us." The arena erupted, not with the usual cheers, but with respectful applause, the kind reserved for something sacred. Ali raised Danny's hand like he had just won a championship belt. The crowd rose to their feet. And then something extraordinary happened. 18,000 people began chanting together. "Danny! Danny! Danny!" Parents were crying. Tough men who came to watch boxing were wiping their eyes. Strangers hugged each other. When the chants died down, Ali leaned close to Danny and whispered something only the boy could hear. Danny smiled, the first real smile his parents had seen in weeks. And then, in front of everyone, Danny took off his baseball cap, the one covering his bald head, and placed it on Ali's. "For you," he whispered. "So you remember me." Ali broke down crying right there in the ring, in front of 18,000 people. He finished the exhibition fight that night, but with Danny's cap still on his head, every punch thrown in honor of the boy in his arms. And here's the incredible part. Danny Sullivan didn't die that night. Or the next. Or even the next week. Doctors couldn't explain it, but somehow, that night gave him strength. He lived for 6 more months. 6 more months filled with love, laughter, and the knowledge that his hero had carried him in front of the world. Years later, Margaret Sullivan said, "Danny wasn't afraid anymore. He knew he was loved, not just by us, but by Ali, and by those 18,000 strangers." Muhammad Ali never forgot Danny. From that night forward, he made a point of seeking out sick children at his fights. He said Danny reminded him why he was really there. And when Ali himself passed, Danny's story lived on, a reminder that sometimes, the greatest fights aren't won in the ring, but in the heart.